Hi, guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Vijeta, and today we shall be continuing with our People Development and Environment questions for UGC NET Paper 1. A fairly easy topic and very scoring if you just know the right questions to study. So, let us begin. Taj Mahal is mainly threatened by SO2. See, we all know this it's a very general question and a very easy question as to what Taj Mahal is generally affected by. It is SO2 and sulfur dioxide and even nitrous oxide and nitrogen dioxide. These are the gases which actually react with water, oxygen, and other chemicals, and they form sulfuric acid and nitric acids. And I'm sure a lot of you must have studied this in middle school, like in 6th 7th class. And this is what it is when we say it is an acid rain. This is acid rain only, and this is the major reason, because of which the disintegration of marble is happening, because acid reacts very badly to marble, too much of acid, that is, and Taj Mahal is constantly exposed to this acid rain. You know, mild acid is used for cleaning marble. Why is that? Because acid is very corrosive, and it can actually make some marble shine if a lot of dirt is accumulated on it. However, when that marble, a clean marble, is you know given the contact of acid, the marble will be eroded, not the dirt. And this is why, and Taj Mahal is constantly getting poured on by the acid rain, which is the reason why the marble on Taj Mahal has got discolored. So yeah, that is that. Which layer of the atmosphere has natural ozone? It is stratosphere. See, ozone occurs naturally in stratosphere, and it protects the life on Earth by preventing all those harmful UV rays so that they don't directly fall on Earth. Okay? Chronic toxic effects result from single dose of very high toxic substance, of continuous exposure of sublethal dose. Actually, it is true, because acute toxic effects result from single dose of very high toxic substance, or if you are continuously being exposed to the sublethal dose, that is there. And that is why there are a lot of studies which say that if you stay in Delhi for a long period of time, your life might get shortened because of the dose of poisonous toxic elements that we are getting from the air over there. It is actually shortening our life. Even acute toxic effects are long lasting and irreversible, mainly caused due to prolonged exposure to toxins, and survival rate is very low. Exactly. See, chronic toxic effects are long lasting and they are actually irreversible in many cases. Even if you think about Japan's Hiroshima and Nagasaki, there were reports. I mean, I studied in 6th or 7th class only, that even now there are some children that are formed with some genetic effects because of the bombing that happened, because of those toxins that are still present in the air of Japan. And which is the reason why there are some genetic effects still seen in the children who are born there. So some of these effects are very largely irreversible, or they are irreversible for a long period of time. I mean, the genetic defects might have lessened from the 1940s, but they are still there, and they might lessen or get completely erased maybe in the future. Who knows? Genetic mutation. Yet, the effects are still there, and they are as good as irreversible. So, you should understand how dangerous these toxins are. Which of the following goals are related to Millennium Developmental Goals? Improving maternal health, improving the life of slum dwellers, promoting gender equality and empowerment of women. Yes, that is true actually. See, there are 8 Millennium Development Goals. Actually, they gave only three which are the correct ones. So let me tell you the remaining eight, or just all the eight ones. Eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. That's very easy to remember. Achieve universal primary education. You know, that is a very commonly known fact. Promote gender equality and empower women. That's there written. Reduce child mortality. Improve maternal health. That's already written there. Combat HIV, malaria, and other diseases. Ensure environmental sustainability. Develop a global partnership for development. Actually, improving the life of slum dwellers is it can be paraphrased into eradicating extreme poverty and hunger. So you must understand that these rules can be given in a paraphrased form. So you have to read all those goals that are there, and you know, use your some sort of common sense, I suppose, and understand what goals are there and what are the actual goals that were written and how they are paraphrased. Okay. For wind power electricity generation, which type of rotors are mostly used? They are the propeller rotors. See, the portion of wind turbine that collects energy from the wind is actually the rotor. Okay. And for wind power, electricity generation propeller rotor is actually the commonly used one. So, you know, the portion of the turbine that actually collects the energy from the wind, it is called the rotor. Okay. And for wind power electricity generation, propeller rotor is actually the most commonly used one for collecting all the energy. Okay. Which of the following are biofuels? I have written the right ones. They are methanol and ethanol. See, they actually gave gasoline and methane also for biofuels, and a lot of people might get confused with methane because it is actually produced during the biomass combustion. But the thing is, gasoline and methane are actually derived from non-renewable resources, okay, such as crude oil and natural gas. Okay, they're not derived from renewable resources. So, and methanol and ethanol are the biofuels because they can be produced from renewable resources. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. Which one of the natural system is used for hot water for domestic purposes? Solar thermal. See, solar thermal systems use sun's energy to heat water. The other options that were given, they are not actually natural systems. Solar photovoltaic systems, they use the light of the sun to generate electricity. And they actually use the light of the sun to generate the electricity, not heat. And geothermal systems use the heat from the earth to heat water. Solar digesters use the sun's heat to break down organic matter, which can then be used as a fuel or fertilizer. So, yeah, you have to understand the difference between all these systems and study what all these systems do in order to get the right option and tick the right option. So, that is that. Green hydrogen is produced by electrolysis powered by renewable sources of energy. Green hydrogen is actually hydrogen produced by splitting water by electrolysis. Electrolysis, you must know the process. And this produces only hydrogen and oxygen. This electrolysis is powered by renewable sources of energy. So that is why electrolysis, which produces green hydrogen, is actually powered by renewable sources of energy. Which one of the following gas is harmful for ozone layer? It's CFC, which is chlorofluorocarbon. When they are released into atmosphere, they get accumulated in the stratosphere. And then they start causing the depletion of ozone layer, because we have studied that ozone is actually present in the stratosphere. Now, stratospheric ozone depletion can actually cause skin cancer and also genetic damage in many organisms. And see, because as we discuss, stratosphere actually filters out the harmful UV rays, and which is the reason why a lot of species have become extinct also because of the UV rays and the genetic damage they caused to organisms. Even a lot of human beings, they suffer from skin cancer. The rate of skin cancer and other skin diseases have increased because of this stratosphere depletion. So, yeah, CFC is actually responsible for that, which is a man made gas, as we discussed, and it was produced in the 1930s when refrigerators came into existence. Which of the following activities have contributed maximum to global warming? It's fossil fuel combustion. See, during the combustion of fossil fuels, greenhouse gases are released, which are carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide. They are actually produced in very large amounts. Now, these greenhouse gases contribute to global warming. There are other listed activities also, but the maximum impact is produced from fossil fuel combustion, which is the reason why I have written this option. And mostly the options that you will get, fossil fuel combustion will be there, and they will mostly generally ask you which activity produces the most most greenhouse gases and contribute to global warming. So generally, most likely, fossil fuel combustion will always be the most appropriate answer. So, which one of the following is not covered under the Environment Protection Act of 1986? Eco-sensitive zone. See, Environment Protection Act, or EPA, of 1986 is an umbrella legislation which covers a wide range of environmental issues, and that includes air, water pollution, hazardous waste management, noise pollution, and wildlife protection. But this act does not cover eco sensitive zones, not particularly. So you have to keep that in mind. It's a very important question, also, very tricky and nuanced question. And UGC Net always goes for nuanced questions. I feel that. I think, yeah. Consider the following regarding Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD. It came into force on 29 December 1993, and India is one of the parties to the convention. And yeah, also there is one more fact. India signed the convention on June 5, 1992. And International Biodiversity Day is celebrated every year on May the 22nd. Okay, so not June the 22nd. There were some more options, but they were incorrect. And I'm just telling you these correct options because sometimes they ask you these dates also. Just keep that in mind. The International Solar Alliance was launched by France and India on the sidelines of COP21. See, the International Solar Alliance was launched on the sidelines of COP21. ISA seeks to mobilize resources, technology, and expertise so that the adoption of solar energy and the promotion of solar power can come into force. Because they want to accelerate the adoption of solar energy and solar power and put this thing on the table that it is the only key solution to global energy challenges. Okay. Which rank does India hold globally with respect to a net gain in average annual forest area between the years 2010 and 2020? It's the third rank. And it is actually according to the Global Forest Resources Assessment, FRA 2020, was conducted by Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, of United Nations. The top two countries in terms of net gain in average annual forest area between 2010 and 2020 were China and Russia. So this is according to the Global Forest Resources Assessment. FR, this is just one survey, and there might be other surveys which have different ranking systems. So one is by the Global Forest Resources Assessment. That is the name of the assessment, and it was conducted by the Food and Agriculture Organization FAO of United Nations. So keep that in mind. Light water reactors LWR are nuclear reactors, and they use ordinary water as moderators. See, LWR are the types of nuclear reactor that use regular kind of water, the water that we have, as both a coolant and a neutron moderator, which is quite good actually in some ways. Which one of the following isotopes of uranium is used as fissile material in nuclear thermal power plants? It's U-234. 234 is actually, I think there is a little bit of a typo here. It's U-235, not U-234. I'm sorry for that. And fissile materials are the materials that can undergo the fission reaction. When an atom breaks into two, fusion is mingling and fission is breaking. U-235 is the isotope of uranium used as a fissile material in nuclear thermal power plants. So that's U-235. Sorry for that. The Global Education Development Agenda, reflected in Goal 4 SDG 4 of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development adopted by India in 2015, seeks to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all by 2030. So that is an agenda. Just keep that in mind. Just keep this thing that it's related to education and 2030. You don't have to memorize each and every word, and just remember the Global Education Development Agenda, Goal 4 SDG 4. So the keywords should be remembered and most of the work will be done. What is the correct order of the 3R principle? It's reduce, reuse, and recycle. And it's the ways of waste disposal, as we all know, and it can help in preventing environmental pollution by reducing a lot of waste, because there will be less strain on the environment. Mode of spread of hepatitis A, food contamination, and a waterborne disease. The hepatitis A is caused through contamination of food as well as water. The contamination is usually through agricultural waste, all the pesticides and all, urban sewage, chemical waste, industrial wastes and all, etc. Activity that tends to reduce the water table, over extraction of underground water. See, using the bore wells and all, it's the withdrawal of excessive amounts of water by using tube wells. And this results in lowering of water table as well as creation of a dry environment. A water table is the region which is between the surface of the soil along with the rock sediments. So if you extract a lot of water using tube wells, it will go down. Name the gas that is vital for maintaining atmospheric temperature. That's carbon dioxide. Actually, carbon dioxide is a vital greenhouse gas that aids in trapping heat within the atmosphere, and thereby it maintains the temperature of the atmosphere. That is why we are not so cold all the time. Carbon dioxide does have its uses, and in a limited quantity, it is essential for survival of life on Earth. So, our planet Earth has all these gases, and they all have their own use in moderate amounts. It is when their amount is increased, that is where, the problem arrives. All species on Earth with each other, along with their respective environments, collectively constitute biosphere. Biosphere is actually defined as a group of microorganisms, plants, as well as the animals that we see, and they interact with each other along with their specific environment. That is a biosphere, when all of the organisms are interacting with each other along in their specific environment. That is a biosphere. The main reason for the blueness of sky is due to the scattering of sunlight by air molecules. A clear cloudless day time sky is blue because molecules in the air scatter blue light from the sun more than they scatter red light. Blue color gets scattered the maximum since the particles present in the atmosphere have the size which is comparable to the wavelength of blue light. So it's all physics, it's blue color is the one which is getting scattered the most, which is the reason why the sky appears blue and not red or any other color most of the time, that is on a clear day, that is. So that is quite an interesting fact. Next time you see the sky, you can remember that and see it in a different light, in a different perspective. Which of the following gas is present in the air in maximum amount? It's nitrogen. Concentration of nitrogen in air is 78%, whereas oxygen occupies 21%. Carbon dioxide makes up 0.04% of the atmosphere, and methane occupies 0.00017%. So yeah, as I told you, all these gases have their own uses, and the amount in which they are present serve its own purpose. So with this, I conclude the lecture of today. I hope you liked it. Like, share, subscribe, and I will meet you all in the next video. Thank you.